guys, it's Tomoe Umari. I'm a horse girl. Yay! Anyways, I'm here to teach you guys about branding and social media stuff, which are both extremely important for any aspiring VTuber. If this is you, or you're just curious as to how this stuff works, be sure to stick around to learn more. Let's dive in! As a disclaimer, I am not a subject matter expert on this stuff, nor do I have a degree for any of it. I mean, hell, they haven't even invented a bachelor's in VTubing yet. This is all just based on my personal experiences and is advice that I would offer a friend if they asked. Because, well, how many times do you get unsolicited advice from some random dude claiming to be a VTuber content expert with no actual evidence to back up their claims? I figure it's at least better coming from an actual VTuber. The first thought-provoking question I must pose to you now is, what's the difference between a plain old beige cat girl and a magical fire wizard cat girl? One is a whole lot more memorable than the other, that's for sure. A striking overall impression is the core of any brand. Ridiculous? Maybe to some. Memorable? Yes. I'll use myself as an example. There are 3 different terms that can be used to easily sum me up. Tomboy, military, and horse girl. Just like how people argue a silhouette should be recognizable, a VTuber should ideally be identifiable from just a couple words as well. Some people like triangles, but everyone loves circles, I think. As such, having multiple angles of appeal naturally broadens your overall charm. But it's important to make sure they genuinely reflect who you are, or at least an actual part of you, otherwise it'll probably tire you out over time. At that point, one might even consider rebranding. If that happens though, just know you'll always have people who go, "I miss the old you! The old you was better!" Right? I mean, that's not really important. What's important is that you feel comfortable with your model and the sort of content that you're making. Your passion will ultimately shine through and the quality of your content will subconsciously go up as a result. If you force yourself to do what you think would be the most popular, even if you don't enjoy it in the slightest, it's slowly gonna eat away at you until eventually you lose your spark and wither away. As great as having multiple angles are, though, having too many can make things feel muddled. But on the other hand, if you only have one thing going for you, aka you're a one-trick pony, your potential audience becomes very niche and it ends up becoming that much harder to even reach them in the first place. So try to keep track of which audiences you're opening yourself up to and which you're closing out as well. By reflecting on this regularly and taking the time to course correct as needed, you're much more likely to achieve your content creation goals in the long run. In this same regard, another important factor is acting to strengthen that brand. It's not enough to just say what you are, you have to be able to prove it. It's kind of like the difference between claiming to be a nice guy and actually being one. If you have an idea of your brand's keywords, you should be ideally producing theme content to reinforce the idea to your audience. You can do this through things such as themed merch, events, and whatever else your brand can manifest to bolster this image in people's heads. However, please note that the stronger your brand is, the harder it'll be to rebrand. It's not recommended to rebrand once you've established a strong foundation for who you are, otherwise people will be very confused. This is simply something to keep in mind, but don't let it stop you if your heart is set on it. So what do you do once the foundation of your brand is established? Well, as a VTuber, you should be using everything at your disposal to stand out. Something that really irks me is people saying, I'm doing everything 100% right, but that gosh darn no good algorithm hates me. That's the only reason that I'm not a big VTuber yet. Everyone likes to blame the algorithm, but what good does hitting the algorithm do if your content is still unpolished? People are going to just keep scrolling. Okay, sure, right place, right time exists, but, you know, that's not really something you can count on necessarily. To an extent, you can also make your own luck as well. Don't believe me? Well, Allow me to explain. The biggest mistake I see VTubers making is thinking that they need to spend as much time as possible streaming to draw in new fans. This isn't quite true. If you're like me and have a full-time job or other obligations, the amount of time you can spend actively streaming is pretty limited. It's important to consider it's not about how much time you spend on building yourself up, but how you spend that time. Instead of forcing yourself to stream for 8 hours straight with lots of long stretches of awkwardness, strive to spend 2 to 3 hours streaming with condensed good vibes instead. Then, with the time that you saved, you can start expanding your content to other platforms in different shapes. Everyone knows your reach on Twitch and YouTube is notoriously non-existent when you're first starting out, so this is almost essential to succeeding. The more places you are, the higher your chance of being lucky and hitting the algorithm is. Are you starting to see the vision? For the record, you don't need to put the same amount of effort into every platform. It's better to have a foot in the door than overthink things and choose complete inaction. Don't get caught up in trying to have everything be super professional and perfect from the get-go either. Everyone's gotta start somewhere after all. Some of your favorite VTubers probably have extremely humble beginnings and slowly made upgrades over time as they gained money and experience. Make sure to link your socials everywhere as well. Most people don't want to spend a lot of time and energy trying to figure out where they can follow you at. Create a link tree using something like Card, then toss your main streaming platform out in plain view. The less clicks it takes for someone to get a feel for what you're about, the greater the odds of you winning them over are. Also, experimental content is essential. Don't expect to grow in this oversaturated field simply by chasing trends. Get innovative. Don't be afraid to try and fail at things. It's good to have a safety net of things you know are tried and true to work, but I'd say at least 1/4 of what you do should ideally be experimental. If I hadn't tried and failed at stuff, I'd never be where I am today. Experimental content is also usually how you go viral, by the way. If you want to come up with content that will catch people's eye, genuinely consider your audience's perspective. Ask yourself, if I randomly stumbled upon this, would I want to watch it? Is the thumbnail interesting? How about the title? It's not a perfect process since sometimes things I expect to do well don't, and vice versa, but what matters is that you're at least making some sort of effort to consider the people you're aspiring to entertain. People care about something with clear passion and thought put behind it more than something with heaps of money poured into it. That's why you can't just spend tens of thousands on a debut and expect to become one of the greats, especially with so many other VTubers around nowadays. It's also nice when people clip you, though you can't reasonably expect it. So that's why sometimes you've gotta roll up your sleeves and take matters into your own hands. Ultimately, there's 3 primary ways that people usually consume content: short form, long form, and streams. It'd be great to have all 3, but usually people can only manage 1 or 2, which can definitely work, at least mostly. There's a big reason why people swear by short form though. If you make a short, it can go a lot further than you'd expect. You can post it on YouTube, sure, but you can also post it on X, TikTok, and Instagram, which allows you to automatically share it to Facebook as well. Maybe your short will flop in one algorithm, but between all of those algorithms, there's a solid chance it'll gain traction somewhere. The sort of short that does well on one platform might not be as popular on others, for example. Some favor gaming content more, while others favor stuff like storytime content. You never really know since algorithms and platform audiences are always changing. Then there's a matter of images. Images can be posted on X as well as Instagram and by extension Facebook. You can also post them in your YouTube community page as well, which can push it out to more potential fans while also keeping your community engaged. If you can't commission art or don't have any fan art to share, consider making memes or cute images from model screenshots to share. It can be a lot more effective than you might think. It's not a guarantee you'll convert people from other platforms, but you should at least strive to leave an impression in their mind. That's where having key identifiers about you comes in. Maybe they don't decide to give your content a shot the first time, but they stumble upon you months later and vaguely recall something about a military-themed horse girl or something crazy like that. Visually Usually speaking, the model itself is the hook. A common saying is that people show up for the model and stay for the personality, which is absolutely true more often than not. That being said, you don't need to invest an absurd amount of money into a model from the get-go. You also don't need to go crazy and make it the sexiest thing to ever grace this planet. In the sense that VTubers aren't gacha game characters, sometimes simpler is better. Also, artists will appreciate it greatly too. One last thing to keep in mind is that your audience between platforms and content types is going to vastly differ. This is part of why the impression you make is so important. Some people only have time to look at memes or art of you, some people only watch shorts, some only watch videos, and some come to streams. Realistically speaking, they're going to get to know you and your content on varying levels from this. There's also different platform cultures as well that play into account, so keep that in mind somewhere in the back of your head. They're all fans of you, but maybe not for the same reasons, and that's okay. As far as social media conduct goes, there's a couple important things to remember. The main thing is that just because something is going on doesn't mean you need to speak on it, especially if it doesn't directly involve you in some way. The reason I say this is because it drags your fans into it too, whether you realize it or not. You should understand the weight of your words and the impact they can have on others. Additionally, the worst thing you can do is try and appease everyone. Never apologize for being yourself, especially if you know you haven't truly done anything wrong. Your fans will stick around for you, and the people complaining about you don't watch you anyway. They'll get bored and move on so long as you don't give them the time of day by feeding into it and enabling their bad behavior. It's okay to be nice even to those who don't deserve it, just don't be a pushover. Speaking of social media, a common misconception is that you absolutely have to network and collab with other creators if you want to grow. It sounds good on paper, but rarely is it ever that simple. The most important thing, in my opinion, is strengthening your own brand and content before bringing anyone else into it. In fact, some of them might be cartoonishly evil beneath that soft, bubbly exterior. One day you might be enjoying yourself, and the very next you log into the former Bird app and see my experience with Google Doc with your name on it. Congratulations! You're cooked! Well, maybe anyway. But it still sucks to deal with unexpected stressors like that. Another question people have regarding social media platforms is, how often do I need to post? The answers you'll get to this vary wildly. Sure, it'd be great if we could do a post a day on every platform, though realistically that's pretty hard to keep up. The algorithm favors consistency, so you should consistently work at a rate that doesn't burn you out. Just like when you stream with a schedule, your fans will also appreciate when you post videos or other contents at a set time, during a set day, or days of the week. Humans are creatures of habit after all. If you're worried about being able to keep up with it due to fluctuations in your schedule, consider scheduling posts. Usually in my free days, I'll prepare a chunk of content if I'm feeling especially motivated, then schedule it throughout the week. X, YouTube, TikTok, and Instagram all allow you to make scheduled content as a base feature. Are you worried it won't perform as well as non-scheduled content? I've never really noticed a difference, so it's probably fine. That about covers everything. To summarize, here are the main things we went over. Make sure your brand is cohesive and memorable, both through identifiable words as well as design. Rebrand only when necessary, especially if you've already built a solid foundation for your brand. Invest your time wisely by varying your content across different platforms instead of just streaming non-stop. Experiment with new content atop trying what's known to work. Consider your audience's perspective so that you can stay on the same page as them. Don't apologize for being yourself. Ensuring your content is strong individually is more important than doing a bunch of collabs. If you don't have time to make content every day, consider scheduling it in advance to help with consistency. Have fun and keep your passion for VTubing alive at all costs. I'd also like to add, before anyone in the comments says, actually, Tomoe, this VTuber did this thing and succeeded, so your advice sucks. Remember that exceptions aren't the rule. My tips are based on personal experience, so if you deviate from it and it works for you, hey, that's good for you. Just stick to what suits you best. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to drop a like and consider subscribing to enlist in the Umarmy if you haven't already. Take care, everyone. Farewell for now and best of luck in achieving all of your goals.